and we explore a thought. And the reason we explore a thought is because I so understand that when we question things, when we question thoughts, we have the ability to grow. We have the ability to expand and become more. And so today, the thought that I'm expanding on, that I'm looking at, is this whole idea of balance. And that when we live in balance, our lives are in harmony. And that pertains to every area of life, whether it be mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. When we have balance, things move easier. We're in the flow. But when we're not in balance, things are not in the flow. It's not an experience. There's a lot of bumps in the road. There's a lot of things that get in the way that cause us to feel angst, to cause us to feel emotional, depressed, anxious, all of these various things. So I had an experience. I've had an experience going on now 3 months where I had a hip replacement. And I'm getting close to feeling, where the doctor would be releasing me. And I noticed that when I'm walking, I believe that one leg is shorter than the other. And so I went to my chiropractor on Monday, and he affirmed to me that it is shorter. So I scheduled an appointment with my surgeon. I went to my surgeon and I said, "Hey, doc, it appears that the leg that you did the surgery on is probably shorter." So he measured and he said, "Yeah, it is." He says, "It's probably because the replacement settled into your bone a little bit more. And so I have a shortage in my leg of between 3/8 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch." He couldn't give me an exact amount because he was eyeballing it, but that type of thing. And he says, "Well, we can get you a lift in your shoe." And I thought about that, and that didn't make sense to me. And I said, because if I walk barefoot, I'm still going to have the discrepancy. And I asked the doctor, I said this question: if you were going to live another 60 years and you were in my position, what would you do? He said, "I would have a surgery to correct it." I said, "What was that surgery? What would it require?" He says, "Well, at the end of the piece that I put into your bone, there's a round socket that fits into the socket joint in your hip." He says, "I would pop that out and put in one that's longer. Ergo, your leg would lengthen and you wouldn't have this thing." And I thought about it and I said, "That makes a lot of sense. Let's do that." So I'm scheduled to do that. I bring that up because this is such a great example, because if one leg is shorter than the other and you do nothing about it, every time you walk, what are you doing? You're throwing your hips out of alignment. You're throwing your back out of alignment. Everything in your body, it could be your nerves, could be your muscles are overcompensating, everything. So when you're out of alignment, things in your life shift. And you can look at this from any standpoint. You could look at this from a monetary standpoint. If you're out of alignment and you're spending more than you're taking in, eventually it's going to catch up to you. If you're saving more than you should, well, then you may not be enjoying life as much. There's a balance there. If you're giving more than you should give, there's a balance there. And the same thing's true in a relationship. There has to be a balance of support and growth, support and growth. And without that balance, things go catty boom. They go out of whack. And so it's real interesting, like even on the spiritual aspect, there are some people, they want to meditate 5, 6, 7 hours a day. No, that's out of balance. We're here to be in the world, to be a part of the world. So what's the right amount of balance when we meditate to calm our minds? And so I bring that in because I think balance is the key. One of the critical keys to having a life that really works for you. And without balance, I think we're playing catch up, we're jumping around, we're putting out fires and that type of thing. I don't know if you feel that you think you can live out of balance and you have a good reason, write it in the comments. I'd love to hear about that. I'd love to talk about that with you. And it's not that I want to persuade you. I'd like to explore that with you, because I want to admit to you right now, I don't know everything. In fact, I really realize there's very little that I know. In an infinite universe, for anyone to say they know things, I think that's just ego talking. Because in this infinite universe, there's so much that we don't know. We can guess, we can have opinions, we can do all of that. But to know things in an infinite universe, to know, say, I know how to do that. Well, there might be an infinite way to do that. I went with the best surgeon in Dallas, Fort Worth, and I still had a leg shorter. Why? Because things happen. And here's the key. When things happen, you don't need to blame. You don't need to blame yourself. You don't need to blame the doctor. You don't need to blame anyone else. What you do is you take action to get yourself back in balance. That's the key thing in life, is take action, get yourself in balance, and then guess what? You know something else is going to go out of balance, because that's the ego. And so the thing about life is that once you know who you are, once you know where you're going, then the ego is going to give you this, and it's going to take you in and out of balance. And your job is to bring balance back to your life while moving forward, not standing still. You see, that's the work. It's not standing still because you want to move forward, because that's where the juice of life is. The juice of life is not standing still. No way. The juice of life is an expansion and growing and experiencing more. So I share that with you because I want you to start to considering this idea of balance. If you're looking for more on this, go to my YouTube channel, Lee Wallach, and you put in my channel, The Power of Balance. I did a whole talk on this. I probably have done a lot of talks on this because I've got like 540, 550 talks out there. I've talked about balance a lot, but that one is recent, The Power of Balance. It's a good talk. It's got a lot of information that might give you ideas as to how you might want to adjust in your life to bring balance to it. So with that in mind, hey, let me know that you're out there. Tell me where you're at. Tell me where you're from. If nothing else, if you're on Facebook or whatever, share this message with other people. Let them know this type of thing exists. With that, I want to say to you, if no one else tells you it today, I love, which means I accept you just the way you are. Have a great day, everybody.